Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie, nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom, to jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces. Dzień dobry, dobry wieczór. Witam wszystkich na 400. warsztacie poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj mamy czwartek, 24 września 2020 roku, a tematem jest kolejny wykład. Jest to 346. warsztat poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim Instytutu Kosmicznego Fundacji Keshe, a czas przetłumaczony na dzisiaj to jest od 10 minut 50 sekund do godziny 21 minut 30 sekund. I te dwa fragmenty, które mamy na planszy, przełożyliśmy na następne spotkanie. Po warsztacie zapraszam do rozmów, zadawania pytań, na które postaramy się odpowiedzieć wspólnie. A teraz zapraszam do projekcji, do obejrzenia, wysłuchania to, co nam przyniesie nowe zrozumienie, nowa wiedza. Także zapraszam.
Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers programs. As usual, this time we have a small surprise for you where there are links the Exhibition Center. And as we promised, we allow knowledge seekers to join us. And today we have a number of knowledge seekers from Austria and from England, one somewhere, the only one outside there. And this allows us to share knowledge as usual in a beautiful way. As we always said, we share knowledge freely, and in that process of sharing knowledge, we allow the knowledge seekers to look a step further than what the present knowledge brings. One of the most important things today, which is now built up with the Iranian knowledge seekers, is about the original magnetic fields, how the magnetic fields work, and how they become part of the present knowledge. We have opened a specific scientific chapter in Iran for the Iranian scientists. And this is, for instance, Saturday. So we start teaching and bringing the elite knowledge to the Iranian scientists. That from there, we teach outside. We promise we'll do this one. And now the process has started. There is large number of scientists who have joined in. And in the next few weeks, all the teaching will be translated and transcribed into English. The Iranian team will start doing this, which means we teach the edge of knowledge in the group. And the way we teach always in English, now we teach in Farsi, goes disseminated into the Iranian, what we call scientific universities and organizations, and then the feedback comes internationally. This is important for us because now in Iran, we have entered the phase of space travel. So we actually started, now the 2 units have been shown, the flight system now it's in progress to be developed in Iran. But we're teaching the knowledge seekers and the scientists from different organizations join in and they start developing. One of the most important parts of the technology is how do we travel? Now, the 2 units in the background, you see the enhancement units. Can you show the enhancement units in the background, please? These 2 units are loaded and they are ready to fly. You don't see 2 enhancement units, just the ordinary system, but the system behind you, the matter state, is fully loaded for left-hand flight. It's not just here as a system, and we even asked our people here to secure the systems to the ground. We can only secure the systems to the ground, but we cannot secure the actual whole system to the ground because they're sitting separately on the platform. We expect to see the systems the first time we load fully in operation to start shaking and taking position. We've seen this before in our flight system. We expect them to move or at least create a field environment which can be seen from outside as a light. The systems are fully sequentially loaded. This week, we had a test with 1 reactor, and we already have seen the result. 1 system, 1 reactor was switched on in the material state, and we saw the effects in this form. Very direct. This system is only one reactor, and if you can focus on that UFO system, the minute the field builds up drops, then we have interfered with other things in the building which we don't want to mention. So we have shown what has happened is here is that the magnetic fields from the system So what this means, we have managed to interfere the magnetic field of the Earth instantaneously. The system was run for what, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes?
2 minutes, yeah.
2 minutes. And we have interfered with the matter state of the system. We are very sure the spaceship program is fully on course. And in the next few weeks, we don't announce it when, we'll start showing everything which we promised. The systems both are loaded for flight system. The position between the two is that one takes energy from the other, and in response to each other, they dictate which system takes flight. We know this from the Iranian experiment. If you look in the far end, there are 2 reactors. The first Iranian reactors, there is one a dome, half dome, and one a spherical. We could load the dome and allow the spherical to fly. You have to create a point of reference. In the space system, when we do travel, we have that point of reference inside the spaceship. Now we use the 2 systems. So maybe in the near future, when you come here, you will see flight systems in full operation, if not before. The whole technology is based on creation of the fields within the structure that we create a magnetic field in the environment of the system. Can I have my pen?
Yeah, you would like to annotate.
Yeah, I want to annotate. Can you go back on that system? Doesn't allow me to annotate. Pardon? You got to do it on your board, and I can pick it up. So what in reality we see is the systems. You see them back to front to me. This is the space system. This is the space system. You see a guy passing behind it. Very good, you picked you up. The first passenger just came.
Just came out.
This is a good thing about the ride. As I was showing the thing, you just pass. You became the first passenger coming out. So this is like the Earth and absorbs all the fields inside to bring stability. And what we see here, one reactor at this position was switched on, which affected the magnetic UFO and other things in the building. the structure of the building as part of it was interfered with. You don't want to say because it can cause another problem. So, thank you very much. And so we have shown specialization, the Special Institute is ready to fly. And in a very short time, very, very short time, as we promised, we'll show you the flight system. This system was originally placed and shown to the Belgian authorities on the 25th of November 2011. We confiscated the materials, not to be shown till they control the technology. This time, we don't have that problem. They cannot confiscate. There is no nuclear material. It's understanding how to create cosmic rays at the highest level, which can interfere with the center core of the Earth. This is a technology unknown, and when I loaded the system, I built into it. So in the coming time, you will see edge of science technology in a very simple way, without any nuclear material. Exactly the way it's in the universe. And we've seen it, you're 100% correct, because we have interfered with two solid magnet systems in this building. First is UFO, and then there is another magnet in this building, which we have interfered with. So it means once we can interfere with the plasmatic fields of the iron, we can interfere with the gravitational field of this kind of direction. So the flight is imminent. And you better understand, we switched on only one reactor. There are tens of reactors in these systems. Then you can see the mayhem. We are ready to fly. And as we test over weeks, perfect the system cannot be controlled manually. The system can only be controlled by its thoughts, and there is one captain. The two people who can interfere with these systems, the people who the essence have been embedded into the system. One is the lady here, and one is me. We have embedded our thoughts and our emotion into the system internally. This is what we said. Ask can tell you, computer system in these systems is absolutely useless. Yes. As we said to you a long time ago, we have computers, we have put everything in, but in reality it's better putting it in the rubbish bin, but this is there for a decoration. This goes back to all the teaching we did from the beginning, that the speed of control of these reactors is so rapid that the computer at present time cannot cope. The audience can move a little bit forward. Yes, we have to understand in here, the knowledge seekers, we have a corona regulation by the Austrian government. We have to be distanced in certain distance, and we know who sits where. In case any of you get infected, the government wants to know who you have infected, who's been sitting around there. But they don't know the Keshe Foundation has already got the material for COVID. So the minute you get a problem, if you come here, you save it without the way to end up in the hospital. But in any case, what is important, when you sit here, for example, as a captain, you control everything. At the moment, we have trained 6 motions around the world. And in a due course that we call them to take responsibility. They were trained in Africa, then flown to China. They took 6 weeks of training in China, and now they're sitting around the world to deploy. Very soon, the 6 modules we train will be called it, because they know and understand how to work, and they will train further to carry on with their work. In a way, in the other system, you have an Earth replication, you control it. Here, we sit the soul of the man, and we control. Very simple. In the space technology of today, Keshe Foundation is something like 200 years ahead of any other space agency. And we start showing the production of materials in the coming weeks and the flights. But how does it come? The whole subject is, in principle, to do with magnetic fields. I can hear you. The whole system is understanding the knowledge in totality, in understanding how we create magnetic fields. The knowledge is in the book of soul. Is not with man's system. All of us, inherited in our inner being, has this knowledge. It's embedded in our genes for thousands of years. Now we need to reach it, and if you understand the work of what I call the book of soul, any of us can take it. Now we start the process of teaching now. And the machines are the basis. The first basis for us to be able to understand this knowledge, and with it, use the inner knowledge of the humanity. We all carry it. It's like the DNA we carry. But we never knew how to tap into this knowledge. And with the new and the present technology which is coming up, anyone of us can take into space. We can decide. It's just teaching it. And the process of teaching, as I said, we start that by 21st of March 2021, we see the first signs. The building of the structures are, in a very simple way, puts us in one direction, into space. And any of us, individually or as group, can decide how we take into space. We use the dimensions of the oceans of the fields of the universe, or we stick to the matter state. And this week, with one simple operation, we have shown we can interfere with the matter state magnetic fields in this building. Then the rest is very easy. The rest is understanding the totality of the knowledge and the essence of what is within us. And then the biggest question for most of us will be, do we choose this or this? We choose the spans of the universe without limitation. We need to be trained. We need to be taught how to control, how to be part of the whole knowledge of the creation. And in so many, you look at this as a sun, but in fact, this is your soul. There's no difference. We can't understand and take the knowledge to the next step. And this is one of the reasons we're here. In a way, hopefully, this exhibition center becomes the permanent place for the next 12 months of Keshe Foundation. And in that process, every week, we allow a number of knowledge seekers to come in and see the progress. Next, the flight system, producing materials, and at all time, controlling what materials we can produce. The capability of the matter producing system is about 1 ton a day. This simple system you see in the background, set in the correct way, can produce over 1 ton of material a day, commercially. I know, so I already have tested, and I know how it will be. This will change the biggest industrial revolution. This brings poverty to Africa furthermore, because now Africa lives off the exchange of mining. But in the exchange, we give more back to Africa to cover for what they lose as income. Everything which we do, I calculate around. Everything has to be correct for every citizen of this planet. We have to compensate. We have to fund. We see a massive 50 to 60 million unemployment in the United States due to the development of this technology. Not only mining, all the defense technology people working in America, in LA and the rest of it, newly financed in Texas in the past 10 years, all become useless. We have a massive number of educated people unemployed, and we see the same in the Western Europe. Because you can fly with these systems anywhere on this planet, and there is no control. You can have records in South Africa, launched in Europe, and there the flight time is minutes. The biggest problem for you now, while you're here the way you sit, is problem. The minute you enter the system, there is no problem. Because this system was not used. One of the major uses of this now, once we start putting it out, is people who just, you got an infection, you go in, you come without the infection. Because it's the energy balance of the virus. As I said to Klaus, can we have somebody with a virus positive, they go in the machine, they come out and we test again, no virus. He said it cannot be done. One of the conditions of it, anyone with a virus cannot come in the building. But there's a very good news. 20 meters from us, there is a road on the side of the building that every day about 80, 100 cars come in to be tested for the virus. If they test positive, we can bring them in the machine, give them back. This is the way it's always work to bring in what it needs to be done. So in the very near future, every day, if you wait here till around about 2 o'clock, you see a queue of people lining up. But I don't know, it's the instruction of the government or the police, they have to go and test. So very soon, they test that. If it's positive, we take them here, give them 15 minutes in the machine, we give them back to the government, let them test again. This is how we will show the power of the technology. And in a way, it's good for us, we have to learn this, because as I said in the space, we have nothing but viruses. And COVID is the best test. And the government of Austria has been so kind to us, they put the test center part of the building. So, voila. There are no coincidences. So, in a coming time, in the space, you pick up a virus, in the system, the virus is taken out. The reason we developed this virus system, can I have a whiteboard back, please? Is very simple. It doesn't matter how much we put control in the system, the viruses of the space have a specific strength that they pass. So we have to be ready all the time to interface with the viruses we don't know. So the system can be immediately adjusted. We can produce materials this way because we have the knowledge. We know that the system sitting on it, depending on the field, if they can be stopped by the barriers of the fields we have created inside. If they are slightly stronger, then they carry on too. So human beings are always in danger. We see this with neutrinos on this planet. Neutrinos go right through this planet like nothing. We cannot touch it. Now, we have the same thing in the space cosmology of viruses. The space cosmic ray viruses is something man has never known. It can release so much energy into the soul that the soul literally opens up like sugar in hot water. We know this, we've seen this many times in the space. So what you need is understanding and being able with the system to create. What did I touch now? I lost it. Yeah? Did I lose the screen? Doesn't matter. What you need to do is to create a magnetic plasmatic shielding that can protect you from all the rays. And you've got to be ready for it. One of the most important things which happened here this week proved one of the most disaster conditions for American security. and the rest of defense technology. If you remember, we explained the system and we expand the shields, and whatever is in this shield is mine. Be it American, fastest growing drone, be it American base in Iraq, being, please sit down, being a magnet on the UFO and the system in here, which was affected, and we saw the result. What Klaus, I'll give you a ground to explain to you what happened here, but we don't tell you what system we have touched for reasons of, he will explain to you how he felt here because he was operating the system. Would you like to come in and explain?
Okay. The first time we started the system here, we just tested one of the reactors inside, and there are a lot of inside. Actually, we just did a test of functionality, and I ran one of these reactors for 3 or 4 seconds, and there was an immediate impact to this loudspeaker here, to this UFO, which is based on magnetic fields, and it just jumped on the table. It's like there was an immediate reaction. There was another interference, which we said we don't say for our reasons. But what I felt is, I felt like being in an onion, which means several phases I went through. I could not hear my colleague at a certain step, at a certain distance from the reactor. At another distance, I could hear him again. And I went further for some centimeters and I could not hear him. So I just switched off the reactor again because I was so frightened. And it did not stop. It just stayed like it is for a certain time. And I did not expect this because Mr. Keshe is used to all these effects already. Here in Austria, we were building these systems, and we have done smaller versions of it with less reactors. But now Mr. Keshe made this specific loading he mentioned before, and even one reactor already caused this reaction and also these feelings which I could be aware, which means there was a connection to these fields and a strong impact as well to myself. And these onion shapes were the most amazing things I could experience. So let's see what we're gonna face when we switch on the entire system in the next days. Okay.
Can you explain to us how long did you run the test for?
As I said, after 4 or 5 seconds, these impacts started. Then in total, the reactor ran maximum 2 minutes. But I was just testing different strengths of the fields. But after 4 seconds, I realized that there is an impact to the environment already. And these UFO here are based on magnetic basis, is about 6 meters away. The other system which reacted is about 10 meters away. And after 4 or 5 seconds, this impact was here, so these fields were built up very quickly.
You can stand there, I sit here, I talk.
Excuse me?
So I sit down, you stand there. What is interesting is that, as Klaus says, is few seconds. We don't have that process of waiting to build up for the system. The systems have been sitting here, they're active, but not operational. And the minute we switch on, we will see the reaction. The flight of this system in this building is imminent. The only thing what we will see, we will take this system out of this building as a plasma field, or we take this system out of this building as a matter state. This is the simplicity of it. And as I've done this many times, we most probably travel out of this building in the plasma form, which means we'll pass through the walls, through the glass dome without any touch. This is how we travel in space. We travel at the strength above the strength of the matter state. And I remember speaking to Klaus, the way he was saying what happened here. It reminded me of about the same time, around about the same time. If you go back on your calendars and look at the 2008, 28th of Shaban, which is the Arabic calendar, I went through the same thing in Tehran. At 5:30 in the afternoon, I switched the reactor on, and within a second, he was following me on the floor. We did the same thing. Now, there, we used to use nuclear material, which is my freedom as a nuclear physicist to use. Now, I have converted in the cosmetic field, which is much more powerful. In a way, all of you have made gases, and it's in water. With the plasma technology of today, we cannot create plasma in water, but now we have. And it's extremely powerful if you know how to play. Has one condition. The condition is that a man has to have the attitude of peace. These things cannot do opposite, cannot die. And for this reason, when we loaded these reactors, we load them on the wishes of the peace and one hidden wish, we don't know what that is. One day we might know. And that wish for peace came from Allah, which was loaded into every system. I know how to transfer emotion and psychology into systems. And Keshe Foundation team knows very well how it's done. But we don't put it outside, we don't teach it. And the wish for peace is embedded into these systems. And it's from sort of the head of Keshe Foundation as one of the most peaceful people we know. And in this process, now we have to see what's the next step for us. maybe next Thursday we decide to turn all the systems on, and we all monitor what happens. Usually we get blinded the way we did in China, or we all monitor nothing happening. But in a way, we want to see how we will react in this building. How will it affect us emotionally? How will it affect us physically? Would many of us come here with the cancer and leave without the cancer? The process of development is very rapid. In this process, we have to take into account how far this technology will take us and to what limitation we'll accept. And in so many ways, as we go through the system, we all learn how the system will deliver what is being promised. The knowledge of magnetic field, transportation and transmutation of the field is part of the process of this technology. It is part of what we promised years ago. As I said in a very recent past, in other teachings, it's very simple. We, in so many ways, started the knowledge with what we called, in so many ways, the knowledge of the man. And in so many ways, as I said in the teaching very recently, this is the book, in theory, 10 years ago. And this is the machine which does confirm what's in the book. And if you understood this, and then if you understood, there's a book number 2, which is the system of it is here. Then there is a book number 3, which is the system that is here. With these systems, we can transform matter into light. With these systems, we can change light into anything you like as a matter. If you look at it, as I said in the last teaching, we can create a matter energy field on the left and transfer it on the right and create a light. Exactly what happens in the womb of the mother. But in the womb of the mother, the womb provides the energy. Here, the systems provide the energy. The left is the matter state. The right is book number 3. And in between, what happens from transition 1 to another is book number 2. I deliberately chose the setting up of the systems primarily because I taught the knowledge in so many ways years ago. And the system has to be understood fully by those who decide where the knowledge of the man will go. If you put the knowledge on the three books together, you mix it in the right way, you have all the knowledge to go into space. Everything is written. Everything is inside. It's how you interpret the book into the physical knowledge. I wrote a book 10 years ago. Now I show you the system. And you can imagine what we will show in 10 years' time. Use imagination. What do you think you'll see in 10 years' time if you've gone this way in 10 years? Any suggestions? There are about 20 audience here. Any input?
Moving between planets.
Pardon? You got to speak loud that the speakers pick up.
Maybe moving between planets.
We're not very far. You are more or less on that target. The next 10 years, with this technology now it's on the table, will travel the standard. The rapid growth in the knowledge will give us that opportunity to be able to do this. It gives us the opportunity to be able to dream a reality which up to now was a dream might have happened. I'll tell you how you're going to travel into the depth of the universe. It's not the way Einstein said out of his stack of knowledge that it takes so many millions of years, light years to get to a place. If you understand this technology, if you understand the depth of the knowledge, it's very simple. We haven't used this word for such a long time. We've forgotten how to use it. I'll show you how man will travel in the depth of the universe by wish and by understanding. This is a little man standing on planet Earth. This is a star in the depth of the galaxy. In your vision, you see. Means you have received the magnetical field of it. If a star has sent you a magnetic field, it's taking replication back from you. Means just invite. If you understand the field of strength in the world of science of plasma, zero time. You travel on the fields which objects have sent you back. And you travel at the strength of its own structure, which is a zero time. You see a star, you wish to be on the star, you can transfer yourself in the dimension of the field to that position. And when you arrive, the field strength of the planet or the destination dictates how you will know. Because you have to survive it. And the field takes that language. So in what we saw on the edge of science, now we understand how we can do it. You have two choices. Still, you can produce the UFOs. You can still produce everything else and fly with it. Or option two, understand the structure of the soul of the man, which is another moving energetic system, plasma, and travel at the strength of it. If you choose the strength of the matter state, you will have millions of years of light to travel. But now man has the knowledge of the soul of it, instantaneous. Are you hurried to be home? The food is ready. We go fast. Or I take time. I see the universe. And this is the knowledge which is now in the hand of the man. This is the beauty of it. We don't teach you all to go with the energy within the structure of your body. We taught you how to build star formation, dynamic reactors, and everything else. The freedom of the choice has to be the choice of the man. And that's what I said from the beginning. When we start teaching, we teach the knowledge that the man will understand and the rest of the living things in the universe, that the man does not become subordinate. Man enters the universe as equal power. Then nobody can claim to be prophet, which can change one thing to another. I made you a promise a few weeks ago, and I explained that very recently to there's knowledge, there's a few of them. I gave you a promise that in the very near future, most probably here in this platform, we'll bring a tank of water, and I bring one drop. I drop that water from me into the tank, and we all watch a life to be created. Conversion of the fields of the universe into the matter state according to the acceptance of the planet Earth gravitational magnetic. We can choose to be a fish. We can choose to be a man. while we watch, the system will create our life. Now we have that technology. Go back, why in the past few weeks I taught you the knowledge of one drop, one life, okay. Now we teach to scientists which are working with us how that one drop works, how that one drop saves life. Everybody looks at the physical position, but we look at totally different conditions. I elevate the soul of the man with one drop. This is what Christ did. That's how he raised man to death. He elevated the soul, and the physicality responded. Now we have the knowledge, and in the coming days and weeks, we will demonstrate that in this room. Because the knowledge has to be taught so rapidly that we leave no ambiguity outside. As I said, we take lead in leading planet into peace, and now is not time to show magic, it's time to show a solid scientific-based development that changes the position of the government to a peaceful nation. In a way, we lead to science and technology, which effectively can change. It has to be the correct way, and it has to be done in a way which takes us to lead the nations to peace than letting them test it slowly, one at a time. We've got to lead from the front with the technology, not as we've done up to now, trying to build up the back. And this will be shown here. When I entered this building the first time, I knew Keshe Foundation has found a permanent home for demonstration of the new technologies that the world comes to see. And it has everything for us to be able to show test flights and everything else. One drop, one life. You took it as one drop to save a life, but with one drop, I will create life, and it can be witnessed to it. In a way, it's not something strange. One drop in the womb of the mother creates that child, because the womb of the mother has the other half. We add that drop to create that life. And in that process, we show the creation of life in the universe is entirely depends on the condition of the environment. In a way, if I bring a different tank of water with different condition, the same drop will become a fish, as the same drop in another tank becomes life of an existing intelligent being. In a way, we need to do this because we have to understand how life in the universe is started. And life is not exclusivity of planet Earth. Depends where the Creator dropped that first drop of life. And this is part of the teaching which will extend heavily in a coming time. Open platform teaching, and for many of us to understand the next step in progress in technology by wish, by understanding. But at the same time, if it's your wish to be on this planet, but don't forget, when you are stargazing, there are many stars. It's you who chose to be on this one. Zero-time transmutation, and at the same time, transmutation of the light to life has become the right of every soul. In so many ways, a lot of things now has come, and a lot of conditions will create a new dimension in the human life. As I said, you're all Austrians, except one, two, maybe three, no, three. We all know what Lynn says, as I said in one of the recent teachings, is the home of the Second World War when it started, the birth of it. And it'll be nice to see become the birth of new knowledge, where we finish one and we start out. And in so many ways, now the mankind has a knowledge too. As I said, breakfast on one planet, lunch in the other, dinner another, and come home to Earth for a sleep. We heard from Klaus how we interfere with a matter state magnetic field within seconds. In a coming time, we will show you much more than that. Maybe when you come here next time, you go home with a kilogram of your wish. You want a kilo of gold or a silver, it will be given to you as a gift. Because it will have no value, because I can produce thousands of kilos of it. The industrial version of it, material system, as I've discussed with the knowledge systems. Let's read this one. Standing. On the bottom of the page.
Try the menu on the
We can do the clicking on this. Can you?
left top.
What?
The menu in the left top, file new. New. First one.
No. Yes.
Oh, just say.
Okay. The industrial version of the system, what you see, as it will have an interior like this. Where all the materials produced by the system will dump in and by conveyor belt goes out. It's a continuous production. As I said, we can even give you a tabletop one, like a microwave, that you we give you a tabletop version of it that you can produce a small materials. And if you understand it and take it to the next step and use a different version of the enhancement unit, the material you use, you like the porcelain, but to be a cup, you produce one, and the cup is produced. This is how you produce your things in space. And now we have the knowledge. As I said, the most important thing for us was to bring the technology to be shown in a physical condition. Now we move very rapidly into that. I have till 21st of October to complete one phase before the final phase starts and it finishes on 21st of March 2021. In the next few weeks, we'll break open new technologies in this room with these machines. Because as we have shown it, what do we say in English? The proof of the pudding is in eating it. So we give you enough pudding that you cannot eat anymore. You got to realize I bring the knowledge so forward that I force the nations to peace. And the only way to do it is to show breakthrough technologies that the governments change. When the incident happened here, I said to Klaus, if you left the system still running, we have to see that night. So both of us drove here about 9 o'clock at night, went around the building to see if the system was left on without him going. So if you understand it, once we start running a system, in the next few weeks, lens will shine at night. That's the simplicity of it. As those of you who live in the city, you know from the mountains when you come down, you see the river and the bridge over it. And not far from the bridge, you will see the light of exhibition. Because once we get to that position, we will not anymore. We will not switch the systems up because we have to keep certain conditions going. And the lights will be seen across the city, most probably across Austria. Because it's translucent, it will be most probably in the shade of the silver, and it will be kept that way because it's a structural material. The lights beyond it will be translucent light. And that's why we came here in class at 9 o'clock to see if we see the light, if it's right. Because don't forget, we already know this, as I was explaining to one of the teachings this week. In the Sansana, the first teachings, You want me to drop it off again? Just put it back on the UFO. In the Susano, in a building where we did a test, Arman is somewhere in the background, I can tell you. We had fluorescent lights on the ceiling. We had 3 set of reactors running. This is the combination which we achieved 129. You remember what Tesla did? He used to hold a fluorescent tube in the field of his system and used to light up. Many of us do it now. It used to happen when at night we used to switch off the lights to go. We didn't go, we just switched the light to fool the system, and we used to stand in the building and watch that all these used to come on. Because the plasma field of the system was interfering with it. Many nights, that was a gift. If you work in the lab at night, before you go switch off in the dark, you get fluorescent tubes exactly the way Tesla used to say. Is Armand in the background? Do you see him? Or is he asleep? Now, we will get the same thing here. I've asked Klaus to bring a couple of fluorescent tubes here. Are they here? Did you bring them? They're still in the car. So for that reason, we are bringing a few fluorescent tubes and we're leaving it in this environment to see when they lit, to give us the first indication. And one of the most beautiful systems is
F5 million.
yeah. Can you ask Armand to explain this? Armand, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Hi, good morning, darling.
How are you, Mr. Keshe?
I'm okay. Armand, I was just explaining, as you heard about the fluorescent tubes in the Susano. Would you like to explain or elaborate on it?
Yes, every day we were wondering how come the lights we switch off and it comes on again and again. Then Mr. Keshe explained that it's plasma fields, that it reaches and beyond the ceiling. So every day we were seeing that the light is on, and it was first time that we see the plasma effect, actually, after 129.
Thank you very much.
It was a long time ago.
5 years gone very fast. 6 years gone very fast.
It's 7.
7. What's the age? Thank you very much, Armand. Armand, I hope you well. So we've seen it, and we will repeat it. And if we have seen the growth of the UFO in the step, it will be easy for us to interfere with the rest of the system across the structure. Remember, one of the things, if you look at the first test of the Iranian reactor in Belgium, you always see a small radio near the reactor, where When the radio stopped making noise, I knew the extent of the field. So I had a number of radios, one near 0.5 meter, 2 meters, and then as they used to switch off, I knew the strength of my field. We have a very big problem in this place. One of the main radio stations is just across the road. If we go operational and Austria doesn't get any radio frequencies, you know who to play. As we said, the food of the pudding is eating. But I think this cake will be too big to eat. And then, as we explained, Dharma and what happened here, you understand exactly how we can paralyze the present military air forces and navies to force peace. We don't touch, we just block. And as is embedded in it, the ethos of the peace, if the ship is peaceful, it will not be touched. You will see the oil carriers, the oil tankers, the commercial boats will go as normal. But those who have the intention of war will be paralyzed. Because we sit in it the intention of the purpose. Means we don't paralyze the economy, but we paralyze the tools of war. One of the first people in the opening day came here to see, sent by the Foreign Secretary of Russia, was Russian representative to see the system. And there was one thing obvious. We are hundreds of years ahead of the Russian space program. Let alone the Americans, because the Russians are far advanced than the Americans if you don't know it. It's just that they don't know how to polish it. But the technology is very, very raw, perfect underneath. I worked with them for years. The new understanding of the new technology, and now that we have the systems and we have seen the first effects, we'll start changing course. And maybe next week, if you're here, or the week after, or something in the very near future, write down on a piece of paper how much would you need to carry home as a souvenir from the exhibition center. But don't all ask for the gold because everybody else will have it. Your wish to be carry a bag of peace. Your wish to be carry a knowledge of the universe. You will be given. Because now you can create any material state yourself. And this is the beauty of the present technology. In so many ways, in this room, for the first time, we have shown the change of the course for humanity with technology. And we can even turn the switcher system on and show you the effect. Can we? We are looking at Klaus. He says no.
You want me to do that?
He was asleep. He's trying to say no. But we'll set the system up. Next Thursday we'll be here again. And we'll see what development comes by next Thursday. And we collectively live will watch the development of this technology from now on till 21st of October. And from then on, we shut to start development of the technology in a different way in the beautiful city of Tehran. And at the same time, it will be done simultaneously in development in China. Next couple of weeks, I'll be traveling back to China to bring the space technology on the edge to the Chinese nation by the invitation of the Chinese authorities. That we don't make the knowledge exclusivity of one nation. In spreading it, to give a chance to peace that nations realize their own habit. As I said, we expect a joint female presidential team in the White House in the very near future. And we expect, as I said, the two ladies head of the Keshe Foundation to be parallel, to bring peace in parallel with the four ladies. And I'll make sure that will happen. As I said months ago, we expect the Vice President to be what I call Lady Harris. And we think she's been elected. She will be the next President of the United States. And she will choose a woman as a Vice President. This is our wish. We have never lost a wish. One way or another, we get it. And this is the process will come. The peace will come through the female side of the human race as the mothers they care. And in that process, we allow the technology to be opened up very rapidly by 21st of March next year. And we expect the travel time sometimes around March that you will see a full flight system. Actually, we are 2-3 weeks ahead of what I planned. The reason is the team here is very good. And secondly, the choice of the materials to load the reactors proven to be 100% correct, immediate response. Any questions?
Mamy koniec tłumaczenia i tak jak się skończyło, jeśli ktoś ma jakieś pytania, to zapraszam do otwierania mikrofonów. Jeśli nie ma pytań, to myślę, że po drugiej części jakieś się znajdą. A na dzisiaj myślę, że skończymy. Technologia idzie do przodu. Z tego co widzę, każdy pewnie oczekuje wizualnej manifestacji tego, co się wydarzy. Ale zawsze tak mówię od siebie, że i wydaje mi się, że każdy w nas ma ten cały system w sobie, w naszych organizmach. My mamy tą moc. Ale żeby po prostu dojść do tego, musimy mieć to jakby kolektywnie uświadomione w sobie, żeby ta technologia jakby pokazała nam, że wiedza, którą posiadaliśmy wcześniej, jest nikłą wiedzą, która rozszerza się aż do teraz, aż do następnego roku. Zobaczymy, co nam to przyniesie. Myślę, że nawet jestem pewny, że co niektórzy z Was choć odrobinę dosięgnęli różnych innych wymiarów, bo tu mówimy o wymiarach, różne wymiary, które niekoniecznie fizycznie są akceptowalne, ale z poziomu niefizyczności postrzegamy je jako fizyczne, tylko jeszcze nie zdajemy sobie sprawy z tego, jak to po prostu działa. Także życzę Wam dużo pokory, dużo zrozumienia i spotykamy się w niedzielę. Dobrej nocy, do usłyszenia i dużo pokoju na świecie. Dziękuję, dobrej nocy, do usłyszenia. Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. I jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.